When I first started out working as a designer over 8 years ago, I thought that this field was all about creating good visuals and really focusing on the aesthetics. Well, I soon realized that that was very wrong and that thinking and strategy was a huge part of the design process. And the main reason is that without it, you cannot create ROI at scale for your clients and create design solutions which are going to reach their business goals. Now in this video I want to talk about design thinking, and I want to talk about why it's so important to understand as a designer. Now this is a sample extract from one of my upcoming courses on how to become a UI UX designer from scratch. So stay tuned on that, but without further ado, let's jump into the video. In this video you'll learn what is design thinking and why it's important. We could say that design thinking is a non-linear, iterative process that teams use to understand users, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions to prototype and test. Involving 5 phases: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test, it is most useful to tackle problems that are ill-defined or unknown. Let's start with the very first stage, which is emphasize. Here you should gain an empathetic understanding of the problem you're trying to solve, typically through user research. Empathy is crucial to a human-centered design process such as design thinking, because it allows you to set aside your own assumptions about the world and gain real insight into users and their needs. The stage 2 is all about definition, so it's define. It's time to accumulate the information gathered during the emphasize stage. You then analyze your observations and synthesize them to define the core problems you and your team have identified. These definitions are called problem statements. You can create personas to help keep your efforts human-centered before proceeding to ideation. Stage 3 is ideate. Now you're ready to generate ideas. The solid background of knowledge from the first 2 phases mean you can start to think outside the box, look for alternative ways to view the problem, and identify innovative solutions to the problem statement you created. Brainstorming is particularly useful here. It's time to accumulate the information gathered during the emphasize stage. You then analyze your observations and synthesize them to define the core problems you and your team have identified. These definitions are called problem statements. You can create personas to help keep your efforts human-centered before proceeding to ideation. Stage 4 is prototype. This is an experimental phase, and the aim is to identify the best possible solution for each problem found. Your team should produce some inexpensive, scaled-down versions of the product or specific features found within the product to investigate the ideas you've generated. This could involve simply paper prototyping, for example. And stage 5 is all about testing. Evaluators rigorously test the prototypes. Although this is the final phase, design thinking is iterative. Teams often use the results to redefine one or more further problems, so you can return to previous stages to make further iterations, alterations, and refinements to find or rule out alternative solutions. Now, let's explore why is design thinking important. The design process often involves a number of different groups of people in different departments. For this reason, developing, categorizing, and organizing ideas and problem solutions can be difficult. One way of keeping a design project on track and organizing the core ideas is using a design thinking approach. Professionals from a variety of fields, including architecture, engineering, subsequently advanced this highly creative process to address human needs in the modern age. 21st century organizations from a wide range of industries find that design thinking a valuable means to problem solve for the users of their products and services. Design teams use design thinking to tackle ill-defined, unknown problems, aka wicked problems, because they can reframe these in a human-centric ways and focus on what's most important for users. Of all design processes, design thinking is almost certainly the best for thinking outside the box, which with it, teams can do better UX research, prototyping, and usability testing to uncover new ways to meet user needs. Now, design thinking's value as a world-improving driving force in business. Think about global heavyweights such as Google, Apple, and Airbnb have wielded it to notable effect. Matches its status as a popular subject at leading international universities. With design thinking, teams have the freedom to generate groundbreaking solutions. Using it, your team can get behind hard-to-access insights and apply a collection of hands-on methods to help find innovative answers. Design thinking is an iterative and non-linear process. This simply means that the design team continuously use their results to review, question, and improve their initial assumptions, understandings, and results. Results from the final stage of the initial work process inform our understanding of the problem, help us determine the parameters of the problem, enable us to redefine the problem, and perhaps most importantly, provide us with new insights so we can see any alternative solutions that might not have been available with our previous level of understanding. Design thinking is often referred to as outside-the-box thinking, as designers are attempting to develop new ways of thinking that do not abide by the dominant or more common problem-solving methods. At the heart of design thinking is the intention to improve products by analyzing and understanding how users interact with products and investigating the conditions in which they operate. At the heart of design thinking lies also the interest and ability to ask significant questions and challenging assumptions. One element of outside-the-box thinking is to falsify previous assumptions, i.e., to make it possible to prove whether they are valid or not. Once we have questioned and investigated the conditions of a problem, the solution generation process will help us produce ideas that reflect the genuine constraints and facets of that particular problem. Design thinking offers us a means of digging that bit deeper. It helps us to do the right kind of research and to prototype and test our products and services so as to uncover new ways of improving the product, service, or design. Great, now that you know what design thinking is, we're ready to tackle the next topic in the next video.